everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Misfit Menagerie, or Cast.
Chaos.
That was sultry, Helena.
Tonight we're going to be doing episode 40, I want to say.
40.
Of Icewind Rime of the Frostmaiden, followed by Brief Break, followed by episode 14 of... I wanted to say Chronicles of Darkness, but it is actually Candlekeep Mysteries, which will be Jake's second episode of Shim Sham's Bedshime Shrine.
Ben Sham Sham.
Thank you for your patience, though starting a little late tonight. We made the mistake of trying to put up more of our sound paneling a little bit later than we should have.
And then we started yelling.
And then we started yelling at each other.
Moral
Yes.
debate. You know, in a good way.
So yeah, I'm really curious to see if we get to 50 episodes before this adventure is done. We'll find out if we get to a good round number there. But anyways, speaking of this adventure and how many episodes we are at, what happened in episode 39, Helena?
Gee. If only I could remember.
We just talked about it.
I know. Now I got too much in my head about it. Okay, so we are in Ythryn. We have found it. We had just touched a bunch of stuff, and so these constructs and a magus were like, they did not agree, so they were coming at us. So we had to take care of them. Done. Then we were like, well, we were just going into this school, but now maybe we'll go into this tower instead. So then we went into the Abjuration Tower. Maybe. Is there illusion? Is that one? Illusion? No, anyway.
We haven't gotten to it, but there is one.
Okay, so so
You're thinking, because we thought the one we went to with the illusion engine might have been the illusion tower, but then he said it wasn't.
Okay. Anyway.
Spoilers.
You said it wasn't. I was last week.
Anyway, Helena, continue.
So we were like, let's go to this tower. So then in the tower, there's these Bixby's hands, and they're like menacing, and we're like, sneak in, and that activates them. So then we touch this weird tower, this like little tower that's in the middle of the room, and it creates this golden portal. And we're like, oh, that's probably cool. We should go through this portal. So we're fighting the hands, and then Friedhelm's like, go forth, they're good, and discover the portal. And the owl goes in. Owl does not come back out. And so Friedhelm's like, I think that might be a one-way tunnel. I don't think we should fucks with that. So we were like, cool, retreat, because the hands hurt. They slap you. So then we left. So then we're like, okay, we'll go back to the school. So we returned to the school, and in it is this chalice with beautiful jewels on it. 8, in fact. And it's steaming. And we're like, that's weird. Why is that happening? So Friedhelm's like, let me figure it out. And so he figures out that if we all drink it, we all get a cool cantrip. Except, are they really that cool? I mean, hopefully they come into direct play later on in this city. If not, whatever. So then we kind of keep going, and we find a cool library, and of course we gotta go check that out. And then inside the library, we find an arcanoloth named Scribbenscry. Not super coherent. He is talking about us helping him find books, and we're like, dude, we're not here to help you find your fucking books. Like, we are here to end the winter. What is your deal? Why are you even here, man? And he's like, he mutters on, and then with him is an awakened penguin who is blind. And the penguin's like, oh, you guys are talking? Don't look at me, I'm going up to Z. And so he goes up to Z, and he hands him a message, a written note that says, help me. I mean, if you didn't know we were in a horror campaign already, that was horrifying enough. So Z's like, mental telepathy. And he's like, what's up, Penguin? And the Penguin's like, I'm Kingsport, and this guy told me he was going to give me an enlightened life, but he hasn't. He sucks. And Z's like, I got you, man. So we initiate combat. Friedhelm's like, bye-bye, and he banishes him. And so, cool. Meanwhile, Tempest and Hugo are hanging out outside. Hugo's like, hey, Mordecai, go check out the woods over there, because maybe you'll find something that we need to know.
Yeah.
And we all welcomed Kingsport into our little group. Altus rolled really high, so he could give really good directions to Kingsport to get back to the copse of trees. But he is a blind penguin, Not sure we want to send him away on his own. Regardless, recapitated.
You.
And I think Mordecai was trying to get one of the branches and bring it back to me to see if that constituted as like a wand of the Elderwood or the Netherwood or whatever.
So with that, we find all of you outside of the library with Kingsport.
You're still inside, right?
Absolutely.
Looking for books.
With Kingsport in tow, can you please give me an investigation check for Malachi? Mordecai.
He be investigated.
I mean, for him too.
Malachi and Mordecai.
Yes.
Malachi's the brain tumor.
This turns very. Are we? Is this going to be Grey's Anatomy now?
Yeah. There's a bomb in the hospital.
12.
Okay. He brings you back, scurrying through, able to avoid any of the pitfalls that are possibly within the Arboretum, not having seen it yourself yet. A long branch that is from a type of wood that you've never seen before. It's nearly completely black with little like orange and yellow leaves coming off of it, and returns it to you.
Do I feel like when I hold the wood, do I feel like it's natural? Do I feel like, do I get the sense of like wood or do I get the sense of like metal and this other stuff?
Give me a nature check. The DC will be pretty low.
Scrape off some of the bark and put it in a solution.
Sniff it?
See if it dissolves.
Chew on it a little?
Yeah.
We'll get an alchemy set out.
Pack it into a little pipe.
That, you said nature?
Yes.
That is an 18.
It is natural wood.
Natural wood? Okay.
Yes.
Is it a hardwood or a softwood?
It is, depends on how long you hold it. It is, sorry.
Depends on how warm your hands are?
Yes. It is a hardwood.
Hardwood? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like something like this could be turned into a wand. Maybe this is what we need. Anybody?
I support you.
All right. How big is it?
It's big enough for Mordecai to carry, so it's about that long.
Okay.
And then it starts at maybe like that level of thickness and then tapers up as it goes.
Okay, cool. So I'll just keep it at the same thickness and just put it in my belt.
Okay.
That's too big, so I have to store it in my belt.
I like it.
Sorry, guys, it's a night.
It's, yeah, wow, we're on one.
What are you guys talking about?
This was not an entendre at all.
It's just Monday.
We talked about centaurs too much.
With that, I will turn to Friedhelm. Friedhelm is now alone in the library, I believe,
With Scant.
correct? With Scant, excellent. What
I'm
are...
assuming Valen.
And you're-
He's tied to Scant or no?
They're not tied to one another, but they do tend to stay together because she doesn't want to lose it again. So she would have entered the library after the Arcanoloth was dealt with. And you were going to roll to see if you could find anything, correct?
Yeah, we're just trying to like do research to help out the group with their goals and to also find stuff for me.
Okay, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Okay. Skills. Investigation. 16.
You are able to find among the numbers very few books that are actually about the history of Ythryn itself. Most of them are about arcane theory or broader history of the world at the time that Ythryn was existent. But you are able to find a few history books within all of that tell you a bit about the city itself. And in that you find the information that the wizards of Ythryn were entertained by a competitive sport called chain lightning, and a bit of a description of how the game was played.
I was looking for that earlier, so this is fun.
It harkens back to, you can recognize now that as you entered, you would have passed what appeared to have been a chain lightning arena. And now all that's kind of lining up as you see where the goalposts and the illustrations make more sense as it's sunk into the ground. Secondly, that apprentice mages would graduate from the House of the Arcane and join one of the Arcane Towers. Each one was dedicated to a different school of magic. So there are 8 of them total. And lastly, that an ancient obelisk stands in the shadow of the spire of Eriolarthus. Using this obelisk and a staff of power, one can turn back time, is what the book itself says.
Now, would I feel like that's legend, or would I feel like that's like presented in fact? Like, this is how you turn back time, or is it like a mage turned back time once? Like,
I'm making you guys make a lot of skill rolls right now.
Yeah.
But I am going to have you make an insight check with that.
ooh, that is not great.
It's like a
While he's doing
combination.
that, I just want to confirm for stream. So we are here currently, right?
I am having a hard time seeing that, but you guys, you're roughly right
We
here.
left
Right
that
here.
building.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we're like betwixt the tree
Betwixt.
and the building.
But is it the left twixt or the right twixt?
Always left.
Both. I get them both at the same time.
17 for me.
You get the idea that there is not a lot of embellishment in the way that the Netheries wrote.
Okay.
There is a lot of confidence that is occasionally misplaced. You can see things about the city never falling and the Netheries being the greatest empire that ever existed. But generally speaking, they, aside from embellishing, they're mostly interested in facts.
Yeah. I turn to Professor Scant. You know, for such an advanced civilization, they were very resistant to talking about themselves.
Well, if I had to hazard a guess, I would believe it was because they already believed they knew everything they needed to about themselves. Not terribly introspective, this lot.
Yes. They definitely did not see their end coming, or they would have kept better records about their histories.
Well, seldom do any of us. And you can sense the globe sort of turn from you, and although it doesn't have a face, it appears to stare off into the distance.
I
pensively.
also stare into the distance where he is staring, and then put my hand to my chin, because I am also dramatic.
I will do what I can to record the information in this chamber, but from what I'm seeing for the most part, most of this arcane knowledge is something that has become much more widespread than it was in the days of Ythryn, though perhaps we have not mastered it as skillfully.
No. Well, I guess we should join the others. I bet that's as much as we're going to find. Yes?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Valin?
And from 3 bookshelves down, you hear, I'll be right there.
What did you find? As I immediately go to her, because I'm interested in everything she's doing.
As you're walking around the corner, she has a stack of 12 thick, dusty tomes that she's carrying forward.
I'll take half.
Oh, good, we can bring more. She comes back and stacks a few more on top of it.
Oh, good point. And I will do Unseen Servant and hand my stack to the Unseen Servant.
With your now 24 to 36 roughly books to be precise, she is making her way towards the door and the larger group. As much as I enjoyed spending time here, I'm not going to wait around for something that doesn't like us to show up again. Those turquoise folks are not particularly pleasant.
No, and to be honest, we should be assisting the rest of the group. As much as research is one of the greatest joys of my life, as you know, we really should be assisting them. Without us, they would be poking things with sticks.
I'm not going to comment on that, but I wouldn't underestimate them.
Underestimate. I feel like poking with sticks is overestimating. They're not around.
If you could see what I've seen in them, I don't think you would have quite that opinion.
Well, I mean, they're out to kill a god villain. How sane could they possibly be?
I don't say this with any lack of gravity, in that if anybody could kill a god, I would have faith in them.
That is quite the endorsement.
And she leads the way out of the library, Professor Scant softly bobbing along as he examines each of the books that you both have grabbed with the Unseen Servant and critiques the choices of the ones that he thinks were worthless.
I aside to Scant. Well, when this is all over, you're coming to live with me.
I cannot be tied down, young one. I must see the world that has been denied me by my years of service.
We can do that.
And
I think Friedhelm's a little in love with Professor Skip.
you do love your odd pairings. As this is happening, Mordecai comes back with a stick at the same time that Friedhelm scanned the unseen servant and Valin are exiting the door.
Just 1 second. Thank you for the gift sub and the 100 bits, Mud Shovel.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And you are now once again reunited as a party with your 3 taggers on at this point.
What's that over there? I'm gonna go poke it with a stick.
You want this?
No, we may need that.
We have this. I don't know if this can constitute a wand, like the riddle was saying, but we might want to also explore the Arboretum.
Professor Scant bobs over to the wand itself and floats around it as if examining it from multiple angles. Well, you have found quite an impressive stick there, but I don't know about magical properties.
Plus, it would have to be crafted into an actual wand. This would make a fantastic druidic focus, though. Good job.
I smack him with a stick.
Well, I'm not going to give you this book I found on rare berries.
I can't read.
Really?
And I walk away.
Can he really not read?
I walk away too.
Can you also not read?
What are you all doing now that you are regathered and outside of the library?
I'm looking at Friedhelm puzzled, debating on telling him that I, the author, also cannot read.
Well, it's funny because he's getting one of the books he got for you. Look, somebody wrote a volume that it's very much so like your voice, also disparaging the nobility.
They what?
So, do we feel like we need to go to this forest?
We're exploring everything else. I don't know if it could hurt.
Let's do it.
With your stragglers and unseen servant in tow, carrying your mountain of books.
As we
And my pack.
make our way over, I make sure Kingsport, as I'm participating in conversation, I'm also clicking. Just making sure Kingsport can follow. I don't understand. This person is speaking like me. But
After a little bit of time, he starts clicking back at you.
Is there a cultural reason that this is necessary?
He is trying to compensate for your disability.
You're all very loud.
Hear me, my clunking armor.
I was trying to be thoughtful, and it's what I get for.
I
You can
appreciate
look at me if you want.
Thank you.
We could all do it if it would make you feel better.
I meant no offense. I do appreciate your kindness.
Thank you, Kingsport.
Making your way to...
Only see Alyssa Edwards.
It is a very short walk from the entrance of the library over to the sunken arboretum itself, and as you approach, a canopy of leaves crowns the trees inside a sunken basin. The trees grow in stark contrast to their bleak surroundings, their branches swaying even though the air itself is deathly still. You can see, almost immediately, Hugo, where one of the trees towards the edge that you're approaching has a branch that has been taken off.
Hopefully we don't come across any dryads.
I was just thinking. Z's gonna put detect thoughts up.
Put the what?
Detect thoughts up.
There is nothing immediately evident.
Okay.
So sunken in, like how far is it? A jump or?
It starts nearly level, and then it's about a footstep down, and then after you step into it, and I'll give you guys a map here. After you step into it, it kind of swoops into a low basin, so it's just a slow incline from there.
How big is this area?
You will see when I'm damn ready.
Are you damn ready now?
I'm damn ready.
Okay.
Damn.
Just checking.
It is about
Ready.
this size.
God damn.
And it's perfectly circular.
It is. Much like a lot of the other spaces here, it's very clear that the
That is much
geometry was
smaller.
important to the Netheries.
That I thought it was going to be.
It scares me if there's a map for it.
I think this is what he got.
Well,
you guys.
yeah, I remember. Oh no, but he has a point. If they made a map for it, that means something happens. Yeah. But that's meta, right? That's meta. That's what everyone keeps. Everyone keeps saying that word to me.
Is there? Can I make a perception check to see if there's any thing pointing me to a wand or anything that says wand?
Well, does anyone? Oh no, that's a really high level spell. Like, does anyone have locate object?
Does anyone have wish? Can we just wish one?
Yeah. I wish for all the things we need to finish this adventure.
I wish the Frostmaiden
You-
would die.
There are no
She will someday.
no signs pointing anything out. It seems that the area itself is really just designed for these trees. And of course, there are dramatically more trees that are on the map here, but it's simplified for easy view. But you can see that the trees sort of get bigger and bigger the closer to the center, as they all are around several very large trees.
Hey, Coulter, can I make an intelligence check to see if we passed any place called Wands on the way here?
Yeah, please.
Were there any?
Nat 20. That's, it was a 14.
Where's one?
14 plus 9, so
23.
yeah.
You have a very limited grasp on the written Netherese language, but even with that extremely limited grasp, nothing has looked like a shop yet.
So there were no like alleys that may have been like diagonal.
Most of the area that you... Oh my gosh, Jake.
That was a good one.
This is why I take you seriously
That was
for...
a good one.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jen.
Diagon?
I'm going to answer that question seriously. Most of the areas that you passed were wide open around these really large structures. So the map itself of the city is fairly accurate in that it's lots of flat areas with these large structures that contained most of what people did. You do know that you passed a cluster of buildings that were in another one of these concave spaces earlier as well, though.
If we want to wait 10 minutes or so, I might be able to speak to the trees around us.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds fascinating.
You know, I'm kind of just enjoying seeing trees and life not covered in snow, so I don't mind waiting.
While you do that, I will do a ritual to detect magic at the same time.
Over there, though, probably.
Oh, no, we can do it together.
It's-
We can share resources. Here, we can draw the same circle.
You start,
All right.
and then I'll go 50 feet that way and start mine.
As
I'm gonna walk the perimeter. Of
I'm
this.
gonna walk with you.
as you all begin your different actions here, there's sort of a soft rumbling sound as gray vapor starts to puff out of vents evenly
What?
spaced around the perimeter of this arboretum. And you can see as it does so, the trees almost sway towards it. And then it stops and they level back again.
So it's like when you're at the grocery store?
That's exactly how I was going to describe it, yeah.
Does it smell like anything? Does this like the air feel like it changes noticeably?
As you watch this, the mist itself starts to coalesce above the trees, and the smell of rain happens as it begins to trickle down over them.
I put my arcane ward above my head,
Okay.
so I'm not getting wet.
Yes.
I have
It's-
books.
It is clear for those of you making the perimeter as you're seeing that there's this artificial dome above the arboretum itself, and as the clouds form and you all make your way beyond that boundary, there is this artificial sky projected, and it flickers between the storm and sunlight and stars and clouds, sort of regardless of what the actual vapor is doing. But as the vapor started, it all coalesced into clouds before it started flickering into all these different images again.
As soon as that starts, I try and rush my ritual because I really want to see what that looks like in the magical spectrum.
So
I'm casting Commune with Nature.
all right.
So I get
What does that look like, Mark?
3 facts. Oh, that's a good question. I will.
Also, should we roll to see who finishes first?
I mean, you said you were Russian, so you probably finish first.
No,
I
he said
like
he
to
was
take
Russian.
my time.
Da.
He's not Russian accent.
Yeah. I like to drink vodka while I
Now you're Russian.
commune with nature.
Oh, yeah.
So what it looks like, he will put the stick down in front of him and just kind of concentrate on the nature of the stick itself, bringing Mordecai close and just getting into like a crisscross applesauce, like meditation position. And slowly you see his eyes like close and the weight of his magic pushing out, just kind of dull green aura around him. And focusing on the wood, and then he wakes up.
All right. And similarly, we said that Friedhelm would finish first. Mm-hmm. So as you are having that feeling, all of this pressure of the magic connecting through the root systems around you, you were detecting magic, I believe. Mm-hmm. Almost immediately, the whole space is filled with the illusory magic. You can see the outline across the dome as a light color draws across all of it, nearly blocking out the projected images. Mm. And as you see that, there is a brighter color to the center of the Arboretum itself. The actual location of it at this point is obscured by the trees around you, but you know that that is where that light of magical energy is coming from.
So something in the center is definitely, yeah.
And the trees open up to you.
So I would like to know prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or people in this area. So it's 3 miles of me, but it's only nature. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming it's just this little area.
Yeah, there's nothing beyond this that you can sense.
Okay, so prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or people in this area.
Immediately, there is one tree near the dead center of the Arboretum itself that has a completely different feel than everything around it. It is not the same as the trees around it, though they are all connected.
Okay. And do I get a sense of, like, is it just different wood, different magic that's taking hold?
It is not a tree.
Okay.
How much information does that give you?
You instantly gain knowledge of up to 3 facts of your choice about any of the following subjects, and then I chose prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or people.
So you get whispers from the tree around you that sort of coalesce into this idea of it moves, it slumbers. It holds the core. It is not one of us.
Okay. It slumbers. It is not one of us. It holds the core. Okay.
I don't like that.
And then can I sense, like, influences from any other plane of existence?
No.
Okay. And any powerful celestial, fey, fiend, elemental, or undead?
There is a... No.
Okay.
So, and you said it only extends within the range of nature.
Yeah.
As you begin to grasp what is around you, there is a presence of undead that vanishes.
Okay. Any like direction, or just like in general, there was kind of the oppressive feeling of undead and then gone.
Specific place on the northeastern side of the bowl.
Okay.
And it's as if as soon as that magic swelled out from you, it was touched and it moved out of your range.
Okay. When I come out, I'll explain all of this to everybody. There's a tree in the middle that's not a real tree. It's holding the core. It slumbers. This is what the other trees are telling me. The faintest feeling of undead to the north, then it's gone.
Well, I can confirm that the center is definitely the focus of a strong magical effect as well.
Like, are the trees scared of it?
They were reticent of it. It's not natural.
The undead presence, do you know where it is now?
No, it's my purview only is of nature, so maybe it was in this area for a split second and left, but all I know is it's to the north.
Like it's watching us?
Maybe.
It is troubling that if it could sense your magic coming on and escape it.
The leaves rustle and you hear whispered in your ear as it crosses profane,
Profane. Nefarious.
I mean...
For mine, I hope that you're just practicing baby names.
It seems the trees also don't like whatever was in my purview at once.
Well, I say from now forward we stay close together, and I will get closer to Tempest, who has the biggest weapon.
Well,
The biggest stick?
You weren't there!
While you guys were doing this, we were walking around.
I know, as I'm saying, but now
Yeah, we
that we're
didn't.
back
I
together.
guess, should we have rolled for if we saw anything on our little jaunt?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
It's kind of like me this week. No.
Fucking 9.
Magic for hands.
Fuck you. 7.
You should have known not to listen.
Between the conversation that you're having, the new party members, the incredible nature of the city itself, nothing beyond you catches your eye. As you're crossing the opposite end of the circle to make your way back, the screen of sorts above you flickers in to this sunset, and it reminds you of home. It feels like it's the first time that you've seen Eberron since you've been here.
Sam.
And as that seems to level out the flickering somehow, and you make your way back to the group, the sun peaks below the edge of the dome, and you are all shrouded in a star-filled evening.
Within the dome. Okay.
Well,
Is
I
it-
guess I'd go... Oh, go ahead.
Does it actually feel like it's been enough time that it's nighttime, or does it feel like it's like illusory just for our...
It's changed through so many glitchy settings. It's really difficult to tell. I will say for all of you, you have been in the city at this point a little over 6 hours.
Okay. So we're starting to feel like our, like, I don't know if I want to say physically tired, but like our circadian rhythm come around? or-
Well, you've been in the I mean it's
Okay.
it's been nearly a full day of adventuring at this point.
I head towards that middle tree, I guess, that Hugo pointed out.
Roughly around here.
I investigate the tree.
I would like
I
definitely like to get there before my detect magic goes away.
I also don't have controller tokens.
Again?
Sorry.
Mark, why do you keep breaking it?
Sorry, friend. I don't think I'm signed in as me, so maybe that's why.
Why
That's
do you
probably-
keep doing that, Mark?
I'm sorry. I wasn't here when. No, I am
These
signed
other
as
people's
me.
credentials.
It's something that I must have broken when it happened at the beginning. So, you now have nearly everybody. As I think to myself that I understand this app. and then every time it proves me wrong. You are set.
During the break, let me hop on and see if I can't fix it.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, and how are you all approaching the center?
I am walking. I'm not crawling.
I'm going roundabout.
I'm gonna join Tempest, but
Straight for it, I guess, if that's what you were.
Okay.
That's
And what were you-
probably what you were
I'm
asking.
going roundabout on the right side.
Like here?
Yeah.
I'm going with you then.
I'm walking behind whoever has the biggest weapon. So Tempest?
So, as you approach the center, making your way through the trees and finding that the trunk of that central tree is much thicker than those around it, the shape of it begins to become much more clearly and natural. While the majority of the trees here are strange colors, they still have a fairly familiar bark shape branch pattern. This one, the branches start lower and seem concentrated on one end, and as you get closer to it, it almost appears that the tree is slumped over with arms tucked in.
Also, we're making our way down wood.
Yes.
walking fast.
Central wood.
Branches
You guys
pass.
walking fast?
We're walking
Yeah.
fast. Branches pass.
Okay, so as
We're
the
tree bound.
sound of that quick walking and the clanking of the armor,
Does it sound like na-na-na-na-na-na?
it does, and I'm gonna need you all to roll initiative.
Just check it out.
I'm kidding.
A little piano appears and starts shooting.
As we are going to have a copyright issue with
We haven't done it for 7 minutes.
Michelle Branch. No,
Don't say her name.
it's
Her name is
Michelle
summon her.
Branch.
What is
It's not Michelle Branch's
Vanessa
song.
Carlton.
It's-
Yeah.
who is it?
Vanessa Carlton.
Vanessa Carlton. I am so sorry.
God.
I do
In
thoroughly
this
enjoy
world,
that
though,
song.
her name is Michelle Branch, and she's
Because
made
she's
out
a
of
tree. As you get closer to the center of the Arboretum, it is clear that whatever this tree is in the middle does have limbs. And getting closer still, you can see that it's almost as if it is breathing, and there's this soft sound of
like it's sleeping.
as if it's sleeping.
Can I investigate if it
Did-
seems to
did-
be like holding anything?
Detect
or
magic?
anything?
Is there anything?
Yeah, this is the source of the magic.
Okay, but do I feel like it's a conjured creature, or like
No,
it's just emanating
it
magic?
is just emanating magic.
So I will.
And not only that, the magic is different colors at different points of the tree, as if magic has been concentrated in it.
I will. I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Can I investigate to see if the limbs seem to be holding something or doing anything? Or if they're just like lax?
How close do you want to get to investigate? Where you are, or closer?
I'll get a little bit closer, yeah.
Okay, roll investigation.
Where's C? We should see if it thinks.
Oh shit.
You already did that. didn't you?
I did that on the outside.
Are
I'm
you-
not front of in.
Are we still pulling
Yeah.
rounds or coming in?
The 30.
Oh, it's only 30. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, I think we're circling more like spiraling towards it.
Like here?
12.
Maybe a little closer.
No plus?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, it doesn't appear from what you can tell to be hearing anything. The leaves and branches and the more humanoid arms that it has crossed over its midsection are all relaxed, and they seem to be moving in time with that intake of air.
Aldous, I don't know if this thing is dangerous.
2 things. One, I'm putting my blessing on you for advantage on next initiative. I'll get a little bit closer, so we're within 30 feet.
Just a little bit closer.
Just a little bit closer now. Just a little bit closer now.
Where was everyone when I said come a little bit closer? You're my kind of man.
That's what I was just, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So big and so small.
And I'm gonna do detect thoughts on the tree.
Okay. Would you just your natural ability there?
Yeah.
So there is sentience that you can feel kind of emanating out from it, it is asleep. So
What does
there's
it
not
dream of?
really any surface thoughts.
Electric
to it.
sheep.
Okay,
I-
so then I'm going to probe deeper.
Okay.
If that's okay.
It does not resist because it is asleep.
Okay, so emotional state, something that looms large on its mind.
You see this image of it awake and smiling, staring at the skyline of the city of Netheril burning.
Smiling.
Oh shit. Okay. I mean, it's a plant and it's trapped in a city of technology, so I guess maybe that's alright, cool.
There are shrieks of suffering as creatures of all races try and escape the fire, and it laughs.
This tree wants to kill everything, burn it with fire. Just throwing it out there.
That's not good. Can I get just some clarification from my spell? Do I feel like it is a tree, or is it something completely different?
It is tree related.
Okay, so it is like,
It's tree-ish.
yeah, so it's like some kind of plant, or
It is, yeah. It is
some kind of nature. Okay.
Tree adjacent.
Tree adjacent.
I'm gonna turn back to Tempest and Freedom, and do we want to wake it? I can.
I mean, no one's given us any information why we shouldn't.
So it turns to sleep.
Can I
I have
cast
it.
thaumaturgy and make the sound of like a flock of ravens flying out of one of the trees?
A flock of seagulls. So sorry.
Yeah, you can hear the cawing and the rustling of brushes as if they had escaped. And as you do, you hear this intake of who awakens me. There are no creatures of the air that have been to my grove in years.
Is it facing us, or are we?
Does it have a face?
I guess I
As
wasn't sure if we were coming up from the back or the front or the side.
you were all coming up from the side. You were both kind of coming up from opposite sides. And as it says that, you see kind of the trunk turn to one side, and this hideous, snarled face within the wand itself.
Within the what itself?
The tree itself, looking at each of you as it seems to take you in. And you can see that as it watches you, it pauses longer upon each of the magic users.
Oh no.
Whoa! Oh, that's a beautiful token.
Okay.
And it's right there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I thought we were.
Yeah, I thought that was the
That's
center
That's
thing.
sort of where its branches expand out above it.
I don't mean to interrupt the tension, but chat was wondering where you got all of these wonderful maps for Rime of the Frostmaiden.
I got them on DM's Guild. I do not remember the name of the package that I purchased, but they were an expansion within that's like specifically designed for Rime of the Frostmaiden.
We'll find out and put it on Discord.
Yes, we will definitely put it on the Discord if you are in our Discord, which the link to that will be on our YouTube episode and hopefully is below in the Twitch description. So it's a really great map pack. It was not very expensive, and there's a lot of good stuff in it.
For the record, my badger friend is gonna be
Badger.
with them.
Well, on the other side?
Yeah.
I'm holding him like this by his front paws.
It's fine. He's fine.
Uh,
I forgot you're
emotional support back here.
such a nature-based guy.
Sometimes it just helps to hug something, and no one in this group will hug me.
have you tried?
You haven't given reason for us to hug you.
Is it a
hug?
I don't
badger?
need a reason to hug.
Is it a badger
That's
or a
a
giant badger?
It is a giant badger.
Oh, never mind. I can't pick that up.
Yeah, it's medium sized.
Well, mighty tree, we are outsiders from outside the glacier, here to find a way to destroy the legacy of the Netheries?
You want to destroy. For what purpose?
O'Real has been causing a right ruckus on the surface, and we hope to find something here that will let us deal with her.
She must be taken down. Almighty tree.
Oak? Is there a particular name you would like us to use?
I am the Nether Oak.
The Nether Oak?
The Nether Oak.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Can we have a wand from you?
Tell me, who will be hurt if I give you my wood?
Well, presumably anything guarding what we're here looking for.
Innocence?
Probably the Frostmaiden, like he was just
Can I
talking
have
about.
insight to see if he wants it to be innocence or not?
Go ahead.
Can I also insight to see?
Yeah.
Because I'm kind
I
of
was trying so hard to find another word besides wood, and I could not think of
Can I
saying
just
anything
give you
else.
the help action?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, I'll, like, kind of, like, nudge you in one way or the other.
Help action means advantage, right?
Yes. Because I'm sure your insight's better than mine.
Yeah, that's gonna be a 22.
He seems excited about the idea of harming innocence.
So I will go, yes, all of 10 towns.
I look at Tempest. Yes, 10 towns will crumble. And I'm looking at Tempest to make
I
sure
don't know.
Ashes!
Well,
I am disappointed that you would only choose to destroy 10 towns and not all of them.
Well, until we deal with Aureel, unfortunately, we are trapped within the 10 towns. Afterwards, we could get the entire Sword Coast, honestly.
He looks incredibly confused about what any of that means. Also, has spoke common this entire time.
I'm sorry. What are you?
I am the Nether Oak. I am the source of magical creation. I am what they carve their staves and wands from, and where they put their profane spells to do so.
Okay. It's good to know. None of the trees here like you.
None of the trees here need what I need.
Question. Can I attempt to interpret what he means when they put their profane spells?
Sure.
I'm pretty good at dispelling magic.
Arcana spare. Yeah, I'll take that.
You just spell a Menagerie.
Well, if he has profane magics on him and he wants them dispelled, I'm good at that. That's all I'm saying.
I just have thoughts about what that will do.
Elder Nether Oak. If you may aid us on our journey, we will be indebted to you and may have cause to help you or act on your behalf. And I look at everybody else.
And also slit
Please
the
catch
throats of
this.
at least 30 children in your name.
Can I have both of you roll persuasion checks?
I start rummaging through the bag of holding, looking for that basilisk head.
I saw a 6.
No, it was a 9.
Persuasion or deception?
Take what? Take either. I'll take either.
Oh. After a +5 mod, that's a 9.
And what was your mod?
9.
Oh no.
Wow.
Well, that's because I said, I don't think we're going to slaughter any children.
As it looks around at each of you, it had brought itself up to a
I'd like
great
to point
height.
out that I haven't necessarily lied.
If you are not here seeking destruction, then I have no aid to give.
Know this, great tree. We will bathe in the blood of anyone who stands in our way, and I throw the basilisk's head at it.
To be honest, we have
Roll
murdered.
Deception.
Roll to hit.
Why don't? Okay. I got a 9. What am I adding to that?
Intimidation? Oh, no. So it would be the same as your strength rolls.
Oh, okay. +4, so 13.
Roll plus proficiency.
So +3 more.
Add +2.
4 more now. Wow.
Add +2 to that.
Okay, so that was 8.
It's not that though. That's something
Plus your
else.
2 is 17.
It slams against the side of the tree and rolls down the trunk and onto the ground as the tree's face changes from anger to this ugly smile. Roll initiative.
Oh, fuck.
Advantage.
Super down. Oh, I got a 17, even without the advantage.
Yeah,
And a 4.
that's it.
Cool.
But show found it and put it in
It doesn't
the
cost
square.
Oh,
me.
nice. Thanks much, Uncle.
Thank you.
All right. Tempest.
Dirty 20.
There's the good
Ooh.
one.
Awesome. Friedrich?
Freedom.
Friedhelm?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was showing you that
Friedhelm?
thing and I got behind.
Friedrich Hugo?
I got a... Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I got a 18.
All right. Z?
17.
Nice and orderly tonight. Altus?
19.
All right. Excellent. And he is on an initiative yet to be discovered.
I'm on a 10.
All right.
To be clear, from looking at it with Detect Magic, do I feel like he is a magical creature or he is animated by magic?
It is a magical creature.
Okay.
Magical plant.
So I can't dispel him. Can you banish a tree?
As the basilisk head rolls to the ground, you hear this rumbling sound, and it uproots legs from the ground itself, standing several feet taller than all of you as it looks down, seeming to take pleasure in the pain it is about to cause. And we will start with Tempest.
Wow, I'm so glad I'm not a magic user for this magic tree. Okay,
That's rude.
so I'm gonna go up next to it, rage, attack recklessly twice, and it can make a dex save. Which I don't think it's very good at dex. I'm gonna take a guess. That's gonna be dirty 20. No, that's more than 20 to hit. 16 plus
That'll
8,
hit.
24s. So then those both hit. I need these, and I need these. It's gonna be 14 plus, that's 24, 29. So 29, whatever, piercing, and then what did he do on the dex save?
29 piercing.
Yeah.
And the dex save is going to be an 8.
Okay, so he makes like 3 lightning.
Okay. So you can see that the damage that you do to it sends splinters in different directions, and as you hit, the tree starts laughing.
I am not going to be able to take this guy's head with me when we're done.
Says who? We have passive holding.
All right. And from Tempest, we are down to Altus.
Okay. Man, does this feel like it's going to be a huge fight that's going to require a lot of resources?
Yeah, this is like the origin of magic. I think it's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's so mean, though. Why is it so evil?
I mean, technically all trees are evil. It's just a matter of perspective.
What?
a matter of perspective.
All trees want to see us dead and in its roots.
I don't know that they want that.
Not true.
It is.
Oh, in its roots, like they
Yeah.
want to eat us.
Okay.
But once we're already
They're
dead.
also providing us oxygen.
That's, I mean, we're technically providing them carbon dioxide.
Altus, what are you doing, buddy?
As it stands up and looms over me,
So wrong. So many ways.
I throw my hands to my side and I cast Spirit Shroud,
Okay.
calling forth the spirits of the dead, which flit around me for the spell's duration until the spell ends. Any attack makes. Okay. Yeah. So I cast Spirit Shroud as my bonus action, and then I draw my rapier and go for an attack.
All right. Gimme.
I'm going to use my lucky feat to reroll the
You're
nat
coming
one.
here.
All right.
Hopefully magic does work on this, as most of the party is magical.
That's what I'm thinking now.
That's a 13 to hit.
It will not hit. You manage to swing as it lifts its leg, the blade cutting off some of the dirt from its roots as it steps back downward. Is that the end of your turn, Altus?
That is the end of my turn. Its speed is now reduced as well.
All right. Hugo.
I will send Mordecai up to it, and then he is going to use his fiery teleportation to teleport back to me.
Okay.
So the tree needs to make dex save throw.
That is a 1.
Okay, does not make it. So
So what I'm hearing is it's not very
1d6.
dexterous.
It is a large tree. Rather, a huge tree.
8 points of fire damage.
As that happens, you see the tree let out this anguished howl as
Okay.
the fire plays around it, leaving this ash-scarred mark where Malachi
Mordecai.
flitted away.
Okay, knowing that fire hurts it.
Well, if it wasn't mad before. What is this?
That's the giant badger.
Okay. I was like, why is there a monster token next to me? I don't remember that happening.
You were holding it.
Or is the unseen servant holding it?
No, I was holding.
Sorry, that was my bonus action. I'm just reading a spell real quick.
Okay.
We will all do an interpretive dance while we wait.
Please.
From the fire, you see it looking around at each of you, this anger in these hollow eyes that make up the upper portion of its face as it clenches fists and all of its branches begin to unfurl.
I'm going to cast Wall of Fire.
All right.
And I would like to cast it around this side of it, leaving here and here open, and then again here. If that makes sense. So
So he's putting it in parentheses.
Yeah.
north and
Draw it
south.
on the map.
I would love to. So I would like to do it. You can't see that at all. I'm going to make it red because it's fire. I would like to put it around here and around here.
So we have access to its
Yep.
flanks.
Got it. The tree screams in anger as you do this, and it is within that range to take damage, I take it?
I'm putting it close enough too. Yeah.
Okay.
So then dex saving throw again.
Right. 15.
15 doesn't make it, but let me check. 15 doesn't make it.
15 doesn't make a check.
Okay, so then 5d8 fire damage. Four, 5.
Dang.
10, 14, 15, 18 points of fire damage. It's not a ton.
It's every turn.
Yeah.
All right. The tree shrieks in anguish again as it turns from side to side, trying to find a way out of this wall of fire. Is that the end of your turn, Hugo?
That is the end of my turn.
Z.
Okay.
So it is, I will let everyone know, it's within 10 feet of that side of the wall.
The inside of it.
The inside of the wall.
Okay.
So don't step on that side.
Yeah.
Don't go inside. Got it.
So stay in the flanks as in far away if you can.
But the wall is opaque, so ranged attacks have to be through the sides.
Z is going to point one hand at it, and then take his other hand and like squeeze the air. And can I get a con save,
You
please?
can.
Are you casting Blight? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so excited.
That is a 15.
Well, if it is that spell, he has disadvantage too.
Oh yeah. But that still fails anyway. So
Wouldn't the disadvantage have to happen after he already failed it?
Oh no. So you have disadvantage on the save.
If you're blight? Oh, jeez, okay.
If you're a living plant.
If it's
Got
a
it.
magic, if it's a plant.
Got
plant
it.
creature. It's 64 necrotic damage.
Jesus.
What does that look like?
Yeah, please
So
describe
I put it and
it.
squeeze, and like as I squeeze, like I just picture like energy comes out of it, and like as I squeeze harder, it just like cripples, like cringes out, like looks like it's like compressing, like twisting out.
You can see the wood get sucked inward by this pressure against it as chunks of it start to splinter and spray wood into the wall of fire, causing it to crackle and smoke. Anything else?
No, I think I'm gonna stay there.
As the nether oak bellows again from the trees around it.
Oh.
Can I, as a free action, go? We do need to save some of the wood.
I'm not burning it. I'm just cracking it.
I'm just pointing out.
Wooden, splintery creatures come crawling from within the wood itself
Blight.
to move towards each of you.
Where's
And
that staff when you need it?
it is going to attack Altus from where it stands as it cannot reach Z. Oh, it can! It can!
Just say Altus is on the other side of the
It reaches out and slams a branch down onto Altus with a 27 to hit
Yeah, it's
for 16 bludgeoning damage.
Sorry, I'm out of arcane words, bud.
As it
Fine,
then
I'm doing okay.
turns and flings some of the rocky ground at Z for a 26 to hit.
Yeah.
And that will be 21 bludgeoning damage as it does so.
Oh, also,
From the sides,
that's correct. That's 17.
each of these come forward to make their own stands in defense of their master as...
It's not white
I thought you said the trees didn't like this thing.
Okay,
Well,
so
I don't
first,
know if those are the trees. I'm concentrating.
Friedhelm, that's a 20 to hit.
I'm pretty sure that does hit.
6 piercing damage. Tempest,
You
that
know
is a-
what? Shield. Screw that guy.
Tempest, that is 16 to hit.
This is the little thing?
Yeah,
Did
What
it?
was it? I'm sorry.
16.
Yeah, that was.
Did it end its turn?
I'm so sorry.
The... almost.
The big tree. Okay.
16 does not hit me. I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
On the other side, Hugo, 18 to hit.
Probably.
Cast shield.
My hammer class is 14, so yeah.
6 piercing damage at you
Okay.
as it stabs through your weakened armor. And Z, that's a 13 to hit.
No.
All right. Can I get a con save?
From who?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm rolling there.
Concentration check. Hello.
That
Not
is a 12.
Okay, so you are able to maintain the fire as
Yes.
this thing attacks you. Now we are at the end of its turn.
Okay, and then it takes an additional 11, 13, 17, 21 points of damage.
It screams as it perishes in the inside of the flames. The outside of the wood singeing downwards as it sloughs off in ash.
Can
Like the
I
little trees.
They are
dive
still there.
towards it to try to grab a piece for or see if I can find something for a
On-
wand as it's...
On your turn, we could definitely do that. I will save that for your turn because I think it's too much for a reaction in this case.
Okay.
Back at the top of the Friedhelm's turn.
Friedhelm's turn.
For me?
No,
at
I
the
just
bottom.
misspoke.
I'm first. Attack twice.
Well,
No,
I haven't taken
Oh,
my
Friedhelm.
Oh, you have to take your turn.
No.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so the tree is dead, and these are seemingly not controlled by the tree. And there's one right next to me.
Yes.
I would like to shocking grasp the one right next to me. So that's a 12. Does a 12 hit?
A 12 will hit.
All right. I need to turn the sound off.
I was like, that was interesting. It sounded like bubbles.
It's little health potions.
Oh, cute.
So that's 10 lightning damage, and he can no longer take reactions as I will scoot off this way.
All right.
Love that spell so much.
It looks so rough. As you
Where you
leave it standing there, pieces
5,
of
10,
wood
15,
and bark
20,
sloughing
25,
off of its surface.
I am very soft.
Yeet. Okay, we are off from Friedhelm back to now the top of the round with Tempest.
Okay. 2 attacks on the one next to me.
Okay.
And you can make a dex save too.
I would recommend making one at a time in this case.
So 18 plus 7,
Hits.
and then that's gonna be 7 plus 7, 14 down.
You take it down in one swipe.
Okay, cool. And then I'm gonna
Say Badger
jaunt
friend.
over here,
Oh, did Badger act?
Where are you
I
going?
keep forgetting he's there.
This one.
He's just watching.
and then second attack.
He's an emotional support
It's a badger.
That's a 20.
He's the emotional support badger.
5.
After combats, he comes
5
over.
damage or 5 to hit?
25.
Oh, I'm sorry, 25. Jeez.
And then that's gonna be 9 plus 7, 16 damage.
He had 1 hit point left, so that one is also out of the turn. As you strike them, and they just explode into these bundles of twigs and branches and wood, crumbling onto the arboretum floor with the rest of the detritus of the years.
That's all.
Should you drop?
All right, from Tempest, we are down to Altus.
Can't until it's my turn.
It's a
As
free action.
the main tree was dying, I want to, as
Well,
Uh,
before he does that, DM, can I dismiss my spell on his turn?
Yeah.
Okay, I dismiss it.
Okay.
run forward and try to find anything that could have been a wand, anything it was holding, or
Okay, give me an investigation roll.
Okay.
Or a check, as it's cloaked in the neck. Here, you click on it.
I'm gonna use a second lucky point for that, please, dice. 17.
Okay. Oh, and there's nothing plus on the investigation.
Correct.
You are able to scrape off the singed sections and find the more damp core of the wood intact, and you are able to get a chunk of it out of the fire and away from the ash itself. It's going to be, as you do that, and with the speed in which you had to do it in order to save anything, you take one fire damage from brushing off all of the embers.
A-okay with that.
All right, and from there, unless there's anything else in your turn, Altus, we are down to Hugo.
I will use, for the first time, my free Burning Hands as a Genasi to Burning Hands this gentleman here.
Excellent.
So, dex save?
That is a 10.
10 does not make it.
You're like, high five? Burning.
8 points of damage.
All
Sure.
right. It is still standing, but does not look happy or good.
Okay. Bonus action. I'm going to have Mordecai transport me away, and in the process, I need him to make another dex save.
All
please.
right. It's just the dex saviest sort of day there is. That is a 17.
It's next day.
was just gonna say that.
Does he take half damage or no damage?
Let me see, because his save is weird once
Okay.
I leveled him.
Isn't it just your spell saves DC?
Oh yeah, it is. The damage is weird. So 17 makes it. That's what he needs.
Okay.
So he takes triple the damage, which is weird.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
it's
weird.
super strange, right?
That must have been. Have we checked the errata on that?
So your saber die.
15 feet of space. It doesn't say it takes half damage, so probably none.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I'm going to teleport 15 feet away. 5, 10, 15.
All right, so from Hugo, we are on to Z. With your little buddy right next to you.
Second verse, same as the first. Reach out and touch lightning.
Yeah, but I don't want to waste a hell of all these things.
I meant with trick and grasp. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. What? I'm gonna grab the twin right next to me and say, just not today, Satan.
All right.
Not
Who
today.
is Satan?
That is an 18 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay. That's 5 lightning damage.
Okay.
It can't take reactions, so I'm going to move back to next to Hugo.
Get behind him, so they have to attack him before they can get you.
Coward.
All right.
Right.
From Z, we are down to them. And this one, angry at you, is going to come forward. And this one, afraid of Hugo, is going to come this way. And
Just have to point out, if you were behind Hugo.
actually, I lied. He is going to attack from a distance because he is afraid of Hugo. And that is a 16 to hit Hugo.
Yep.
And that's going to be 9 piercing damage as it flings out a hand and splinters of wood come flying off of it at you. Meanwhile, the other one attacks Z.
I have resistance to bullshit, so half it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Sorry.
For 20 to hit Z. For 7 piercing damage as it, instead of flinging those splinters at you, stabs them into your chest. And we are down from them to Friedhelm once more.
Oh, right. I just realized I got some of my arcane ward back when I cast shield.
I wasn't gonna have one, but can I have a twist? Now everybody seems to be enjoying them, and I feel left out.
I can cast that friends cantrip. I probably should have tried that on this stupid tree. I literally was like, I hope those spells come back. Didn't even think to use it.
The one that just attacked Hugo at range. That's weird.
I mean, it's probably capable.
No, it's just like on D&D Beyond, like it literally land cocked. That was weird. But it's still 14.
Okay, that'll hit.
2d8. So 11 necrotic damage as I chill touch it.
It freezes and crumbles
Oh, no,
in
chill
that
touch.
black ice. Necrosis.
I view it as he reaches out and it's just like a spectral hand just gently touches it and it dies.
Caress its face.
I love it. Anything else?
I don't have bonus action spells, so.
Okay, top of the round, Tempest.
Alright, I'm gonna shoot at this one twice. I don't even need to move.
How many reaction spells do you have?
30, 20, and a 7.
30, 20 will hit, 7 will not.
10 plus 1, 11 damage.
As it rears a hand back for another strike against Z, and then explodes in a shatter of energy as Tempest takes out its torso. And you are now out of combat.
And then you look through it just to see Tempest go.
And with that, you are all standing around the ash pile that was once the Nether tree, as Altus holds the only wood that is left of it.
So out of breath.
Fast
we go.
fingers!
Who knows how to make wands?
Can I cast mending and just kind of get any soot off of it and just like repair it, make sure it's not hurt from the battle?
So you realize as you're doing it that you can clean it off, but this chunk of wood that you got was not damaged.
Okay.
What's this about killing babies?
Oh, Hugo. That's what it wanted, clearly, but
Yes, we were lying
no.
to it.
Also, can I point out that this is the second battle over magic trees that we've had in 2 days?
The chat was like, why do the Chilly Chums hate trees?
We don't hate trees, they hate us.
This was an evil tree.
I know nature, and this was a bad tree. This needed to
I don't know
go.
if it was 100% its own fault, though. It seems like it was almost tortured by the Netheries.
it wanted to bring destruction, though. Like, you got that, right?
Sure, but I feel like if I was chained to a post and then tortured for centuries, I might be a bit resentful.
That does make
Needs
sense.
so much validation right now. So much validation right now. Where's
Well-
Molly when you need him?
What? I just made Malai's point from back then because she was also trapped in a place. Never mind.
So was Z. That's why he's so chaotic.
Even if you're trapped and tortured, if you're still killing babies afterwards, you're in the wrong.
Technically, it just wanted us
To kill
them.
babies.
It didn't kill them itself.
It
Tempest
probably
made a
could if it
cool
had a baby in front of it.
Quick thinking.
It tried to kill us.
I think it would be vastly irresponsible to bring children into this wood.
Well,
It was,
And I'll walk
it
away.
was dreaming of burning the city down. So he was
What
Well,
is
I-
Kingsport?
I don't think that. Yeah,
Safe with Valin.
that thing
Where
deserves
is
to be in
Valin?
the ground.
agreed.
As that is said, through the domed image of the sky surrounding, there's a little bit of this pixelation as Valin and Scant and Kingsport step through.
Valin, do you know anything about making wands? It's worth a shot asking. I have some of the tree.
If only we knew some kind of artificer.
It's not in my general skill set, but I won't say I've never crafted before.
Okay. Professor Scant? I'm gonna
Professor
regret.
Scant doesn't have arms.
Can I look at it and see if it's possible to like just pull a sliver of wood off of this thing?
Give me a nature check.
Maybe the riddle was being metaphorical. Maybe it just needed a wand of nether oak, not really imbued with magic.
17.
Just like this
I
is magic.
feel like the Netheries don't use a lot of flowery language, so we should err on the side of caution.
As you're all discussing this, Z reaches out and pulls a solid piece of wood, roughly in the shape of a wand, from a crack in the stump itself.
So the thing is just made of wands.
Who
Huh.
wants?
See, like,
Can
you
I-
did that.
Can I reach in and grab my own splinter?
Roll investigation, or roll nature, sorry.
Oh, this. You.
Rude.
I don't know you very well.
I am watching our backs, by the way, for this undead
I'm just saying,
Really.
some of us use wands.
As you look around, you can see that the sky itself has cleared up, and from that starry night that you had done this combat in, tainted with the smoke of that desecrated wood, there is now the semblance of morning beginning to rise on one portion of the dome.
So that magic
As all
wasn't
of it
affected.
begins.
Okay.
As all of it begins to lighten.
Well, I'm glad this magic wasn't affected.
13.
You can see a piece that looks as if it would come out in a similar fashion, and as you pull, it just rips in half and basically you have a dowel in your hand.
Well, we got one. Thank you, C.
I would like to walk the perimeter with detect thoughts up, if you have to keep putting it up,
I'll go with you.
to see if there's anything else in this grove.
Nothing else seems to resonate. The grove itself has this almost tangible feeling of peace to you, Hugo, from having created that connection with the trees, as that gentle sway begins once more.
The trees feel much better.
They're happy, they're pleased.
Yes.
So would this be, do you think, a viable spot next time we need to rest?
I was thinking we'd set up camp
It's-
about now.
Pretty open, and there's still the undead feeling I had.
That's what I'm curious.
So I'm not
Didn't feel
sure.
anything when I walked, but
I elect for the library. It had giant, very blockable doors.
fair enough.
How big is the library? Did we explore all of it, or is there like corners that still might be
So-
something big and bad in?
It's multiple floors of books going up. It's about 4 floors from what you could tell, because it's all open space with stairs that lead upwards. But it is fairly open space, so something could be hiding between the shelves, but there doesn't appear to be doors leading off or like.
I mean, nothing attacked us when we were alone,
Yeah.
which would have been a really good time to do that. Now that I think about it.
King's what
When it was just you and the floating head. Yeah.
Kingsport.
When you were in the library, you explored all the levels, yes?
Most of it, I believe.
Were there any other creatures in there? Did anything ever disturb you? Did you guys rest in there, or did you rest somewhere else?
You were the first that we ever came across.
Did you rest in there, or did you go somewhere else to rest?
I have not rested since arriving.
How long have you been here?
I believe it said the day before.
Okay.
Though I am tired.
Well, I guess we should rest for the penguin's sake. As I
So
agree
do
heavily.
we leave Ythryn back the way we came and rest outside the city, or do we find a library and
I mean, that might be a
walk
long.
up there?
That might be a little out of the way if we want to get
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
quickly. So maybe the library is the best bet.
I could alarm the door of the library.
I could also heat the metal and close it off.
Library it is. Tempest?
Well, I think it would be safe to definitely do watches, though.
Yeah, we know. We got that covered.
I just no one had mentioned it. I apologize if I was offensive.
As you make your way from the Arboretum to the library, there is further rustling in the shadows as you see the forms of creatures moving between them. Apparently, the denizens of Ythryn have become aware of your presence.
Question.
Who are the dead boys?
They're in darkness, right?
Mhm.
How far away from us are they?
So if we're looking at the map here, you're seeing them behind buildings. A good, depending on the path that you take, a good 50 to 100 feet away.
So I have dark vision to 300 feet.
The creatures you can see,
Just out of curiosity.
I don't even know if I can see 300 feet.
look like this.
Oh,
Oh, more of those things.
Oh.
We saw those in the cavern.
Yeah, and they just looked at us in an attack.
yeah, what do we know about them? Like, do we know anything about them?
I could do a nature
The
check.
Dryad
I
said,
could do an arcana check.
I can't remember what she said about them. I think she indicated that we needed to watch out for them, but then when they saw us, they didn't attack, so.
Valin, you encountered those, right?
Never in person. I saw about as much of them as any of you.
Which would be better
Honesty.
nature or arcana check.
Or history.
Or
Athletics.
I would. Yeah.
Artifacts?
Artifacts?
Insight.
I will let you tell me.
I'm
How
so
are
glad
you
we have another
examining
side of
them?
that joke now.
well, no, I was gonna have. Let's have. You get dark vision out to 300 feet.
Oh.
So now you can see them, and do you want to do a check on them?
Choose my dice.
Actually, both of you can have it.
Can I do history?
Sure.
What?
Choose my dice.
Choose your magic.
Give him one of your
The
dice.
brown ones.
That is copper, sir.
Is it? I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Damn it, Hank.
24.
24. And what you were rolling for history?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my meta knowledge, that seems like a good skill for them.
Because that's
Just openly admitted.
I'm just saying,
Here
it
you go.
seems like a good skill. That's all I'm saying.
So 14, unless you ask for survival, then it's a 19.
Well, so were you? What check were you?
I was doing
making?
nature.
Okay. Well, how to survive? I'm trying to. They're right in front of you. You
You didn't
win.
know wildfire druids, they can swap survival and nature
Oh, I forgot.
when they choose.
That is very special.
whatever they want.
So you, with that 24, recognize that these are not a natural creature. That this is a bastardization of magic, as if it has turned against the user and corrupted them. And so these are corrupted mages.
So this is a cautionary tale about using too much magic too quickly or societies that get too big. This is what can happen when magic goes awry upon the caster.
And
Dangerous.
your check confirms that they are non-natural. This is not something that nature ever intended to create.
So they're dangerous.
Would I know if they're dangerous or not?
With that, I mean, you know that any sort of magical corruption can often lead to madness.
Yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean dangerous. They're definitely mad as hatters.
A noted warning, if nothing else.
I definitely would not push it with them. If they are being cautious, that's good for us.
So I shouldn't go poke it with a stick?
Definitely not.
As you
Why
had
these
both
dogs?
began examining them, both of you noticed that as soon as your eyes hit them, they stop mid-motion.
I see nothing. Let's continue to the library.
As soon as you all turn away and begin to move towards the library, that rustling of movement continues.
Like ghosts in Mario. Got it.
Okay. And how are we handling the library? How are we barring doors? How are we...
Well, I will ritually
Barricading.
cast alarm on the door, because that's the only major entrance, right?
I can heat metal the door closed if you want to cast it
I don't know how
around.
we're gonna get out if we do that.
Heat metal it again and open it.
Is that how heat metal works?
I mean, if you heat it enough, it's pliable, then you can just open it, right? I'm essentially welding it and then heating it and pushing
Do
it.
you
break
have
the wall.
stone shape left?
I do, but there's no stone around us.
Isn't the building made of stone?
It's made of metal, isn't it?
It's basically, yeah.
Is there a foundation?
I mean, the heat metal will work.
I like to keep moving.
Because, he was saying nothing around here is nature, so it's all man-made in metal.
So I'll ritually cast alarm around where we're sleeping, and then I would also like to ritually cast find familiar. Well, I just cast find. Well, I have to ritually cast find familiar, but it's only an additional 10 minutes. So
Okay. All right. So with that, you're all in this place of rest as you bring your howl back out of its demiplane.
I mean, he's a fiend. He's just in the shape of it now.
Excellent.
Badger's watching the door, but at dawn he disappears.
Okay.
If anything happens before dawn, he has instructions to come wake us.
Does he just pop like a little furry balloon, just like?
Just disappears.
Okay. Excellent. So who is taking what watch and what was the other thing you were doing?
I don't know. I wanted to use my inspiration die, but I don't know what to use it on.
I mean, you still have 36 books of information on.
Can I just do a research check? I still need
Yeah.
a full rest, but can I do research until then? What should I roll?
So you can roll straight knowledge, or I guess investigation.
So I mean, I
mean-
have proficiency in all the knowledge skills.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Investigation is fine.
I'll take first watch.
Okay.
Oh, so okay.
yay! You guys can keep me company while I read.
Oh, thank God.
That's a 25.
All
Thanks, Buck
right.
Shovel.
With that 25, you learn some interesting pieces of information, and they are as follows.
This is the only bits that are interesting, as I tell you everything else I'm reading.
All right. Ta, ta, ta.
I've made my eyelids.
What?
I've made my eyelids look like my
I
eyes are awake.
unclicked my thing that I had on before, and it started rolling out openly again by accident. Sorry, go ahead.
I've morphed my eyelids to make it look like my eyes are open, so I'm listening to you, but I'm really not. They're closed.
Well, you're not doing a very
I'm
good
not
watch
asleep.
then.
I'm not asleep, but I'm not.
In times of trouble, the wizards of Netheril raised a force field around the Enclave's central spire that only they could pass through. In another book, as you're going through the history of the attacks of the Netheries, you come across that Ythryn's mages learn to extend their lives indefinitely by preserving their brains within jars. And as a final piece, by law, every mage was taught prestidigitation and was obliged to use it to keep the city clean.
It's fun.
Kind of interesting.
Do any of us know prestidigitation?
Nope.
Is it okay with you if I spend a long rest? I have known it in the past, but I replaced it. Can I relearn it?
Relearn what?
Prestidigitation.
Swapping cantrips.
It's up to you. That's what I'm saying.
I would say no, because generally cannot swap cantrips. But with that, you're droning on with all these pieces of the wars fought by the Netheries, where they really directly have won in these massive, overwrought ways that Professor Scant keeps chiming in. Well, that is not how that went. I mean, they won the battle, but it was a matter of and goes tearing down
I always wait for
the flowery descriptions. Can I get the first watch rolls of
Don't forget you
perception?
still have that D4 to use. From Dassybit.
I got a 7.
14.
Tempest. This place is so it's so insanely boring that it almost becomes interesting to find the dullest portion of it.
Okay.
The walls block out the sounds outside, so you're no longer hearing the rustling of the Nothics, and the only sounds within, once your new partner quiets down, are these sounds of all of you existing in the space, and they almost seem to become deafening. With a 14, you feel this strange, almost pressure, just all of your body feeling like it's being compressed by this light but present weight. And as we prepare to switch watches, I need everybody to make a con save.
If we're sleeping, do we
Yes.
auto fail?
No.
Y'all ever just be asleep and then something attacks your brain?
Saving, right?
Con is the body.
8.
Wisdom would be
8.
the brain. 15.
Oh,
12.
18.
18.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, 15 plus 3. Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
What was this?
12.
12?
19.
18.
Okay.
Hold on.
The
Had 1, so he's at 13.
13. Okay. With that 13, who was taking the second watch?
I gotta sleep, so.
I mean, me and Altus.
Yeah. As you trade places,
to do everything together.
Yes,
they're
you
still
do.
independent.
The fandom demands it.
As you all go to sleep and swap off, both of you coming up, you come to much the same conclusion of the almost eerie quietness of this place. Hugo, can you go ahead and make a perception check for me?
Okay. 21.
The books are causing so much dampening of the sound that you note that the only place that something could enter is the door that you blocked. And as the night progresses, there's no attempt to open it. And through that time, Altus, you begin to feel the same pressure taking over. And as you watch all of them sleep, you begin to fear these people that you've traveled with. And you've gained the flaw, I don't trust anyone.
No.
The flaw.
So, Altus,
Tell me deep secrets about your past.
you had a plan to kill me and bring me back.
Something in your mind whispers, this is how it begins.
Not exactly. I understand that you didn't want to be brought back.
I also didn't want to die.
Right.
He'll never forgive you.
None of us wanted you to die, but I didn't want your death to be on my conscience and my soul. If I had to bring you back, I would have given you my dagger and said the next choices were yours.
That doesn't really bridge the fact that you wanted to kill me.
I did not.
You and Malai.
Malai did, and I told him that was the wrong decision and he should keep that to himself.
Can I do an insight?
Yeah.
Insighty?
Villainizing.
Because they both were. I'm not trusting. They were both.
It's an 8.
I mean, he's being honest.
I can understand from Malai.
I believe there was a story of someone else in his pack who was sick and was bringing down the pack, so they just put that one down.
That's what they want to do to you.
Well, that doesn't make up for the fact that you were party to this plot. And I'll have that conversation with Malai, since we will have time to talk while we're trying to save the wood. But I lost a lot of trust in you, Altus.
Disappointing. Is this where I get attacked?
Do you hear something?
No,
I'll kind of like ready my hands for like spells.
No, I'm just making sure that your feelings for me haven't completely changed.
There's definitely been a change, but largely the same. Are you okay?
As I kind of try to shake myself out of
It
what I'm
looks as if those spells are readied for you.
Hugo, it feels like you're about to attack me.
You? Why would I? I thought you said you heard something. Why would I attack you?
Your your spells.
I'll put my hands down.
Thank you.
I'll reach my hand out to his shoulder. Are you doing okay?
He's biding his time.
That's a restoration.
Yes, I believe so. I just didn't sleep as well as I wanted, and I'm ready for this adventure to be over.
Well, I'll kind of pat him on the shoulder. You can go back and sleep if you need. I can take the rest of the watch.
That might be best. Thank you. As I leave, and I assume probably look over my shoulder once or twice.
I'll be a streak of fire coming towards your head.
Wow.
I'll be like talking to Mordecai and be like, I don't know what.
Give me a straight wisdom check.
Okay.
Does Mordecai talk back, or are you just crazy?
That's a 18.
You are able to get a rest in. It takes you a while to be able to fall asleep with these pervasive thoughts continuing to return to your mind that they're all just waiting for you to sleep so that they can finish you. And you're finally able to push the thoughts away and get some rest. And as the watch concludes and you all awaken with a full rest within the library itself from the next day, Valin leaning against a bookshelf, reading as Professor Scant prattles on, slowly waking each of you up. That is where we'll end tonight. So thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Rime of the Frostmaiden, and we especially would like to thank everybody in the chat that gave the bits tonight. Thank you. We really appreciate that, especially with the extra little inspirations thrown in. We always have fun seeing those come through. And thank you to our patrons, Sparky, Dossievid, Daniel, Scott, Rio's mom, Alistair, Sean, and Johnny Mac. And with that, we will be back in roughly a half an hour, or it's the next video in the feed because you're watching this on YouTube, with
So please wait a half an hour.
Candlekeep Mysteries, Shimshime's Bedtime Rhyme, DM by Jake. And with that, we will come up with a tagline eventually. Good night, everybody.